Hello again, everybody. I'm Adrian Salbucci and I'm speaking to you from Argentina. Today I want to say something that might sound somewhat akin to a confession, and not just for myself, but for all of us who are involved in presenting an alternative view of the dreadful things that are happening on our troubled planet. We are the alternate media. We are made up of literally thousands of websites, TV and radio programs, blogs in different languages, and in just about every country in the world. Right now, you are watching this on YouTube, where there are literally hundreds of thousands of YouTube channels, websites, blogs, ebooks, internet radio and TV programs that are generating and sharing information that is increasingly damning of the global power elite, flaunting their ambitions to enslave us all. The events portrayed, the analysis offered, and the mental paradigms ensconced are never seen on the establishment's mainstream media channels. You know that, and I know that. You're watching me right now because you know the alternate media gives you something different, something unvarnished, unapologetic, totally devoid of professional spin, hopefully a lot closer to the truth. Like many key names in the alternate media, I too am here to try to give you the truth, and not just today. For I have been part of the alternate media for 15 years, since back in 1996, when I began publicly writing and speaking and going on radio and TV in my own country of Argentina, trying to explain to my countrymen what the root cause of our suffering was and still is. You may have heard me say many times that over the past decades the global power elite have used Argentina and its people as a sort of testing ground by their global bankers and speculators, by the US Federal Reserve and the Treasury, by the International Monetary Fund. In all cases, they did this in collusion with despicable local military dictators and treacherous politicians and players of all ideological shapes and colors. In the 1982 Falklands War, they even pitted us against the military might of the United Kingdom and the United States as a sort of real-life war game. So by long association, I at least had become particularly sensitive to the methods, interests, and motivations of the global power elite who made these destructive experiments in Argentina, which has been a victim of their machinations since the 1950s. The lessons they learned in Argentina are now being applied worldwide. In the past 35 years alone, Argentina suffered three major financial collapses. In 1975, a sudden and dramatic overnight devaluation. In 1989, a full-fledged hyperinflation. And worst of all, in 2001 and 2002, a complete systemic financial, banking and monetary meltdown. We also had brutal military-civilian dictatorships and the destruction of our industry and productivity, resulting in cruel poverty, loss, and cultural dumbing down of our population. If you agree then that my experience has been a pretty good teacher, then you'll also understand that my association with the alternate media has been a very real necessity, because my countrymen needed all the help they could possibly get to understand why they were hurting and who could help them do something about it. Today, change is becoming more and more dramatic, which makes the stakes even higher. Today, we need to make a quantum leap, not just unmasking the dreadful things happening around us and explaining why they form part of the global power elite's medium and long-term agenda, but also giving the public a clear, consistent, and viable set of solutions. When I began this video, I mentioned that I had a confession, which I feel I must now make. I apologize for my many omissions, for having failed to give you, from the very beginning, a clear, consistent, and viable solution. And not just me. I invite the alternate media as a whole to apologize for bringing you the truth, yes, but without the means to set you free. Many of you probably heard when you were a kid from your mom or your dad, and later on in life from your community and business leaders, that old saying which goes, "Don't bring me a problem without first devising a solution for it." With very few exceptions, the alternate media provide no solutions. They just declare the problem and then dump it on your back with no ideas or plans that will lift the ensuing anxiety. More bad news is not the answer, because has it ever occurred to you that too much bad news may be unsafe? Sure, people need to know the problems they face, and to be fair, the alternate media does provide this much needed service. But people also need to know how to solve these problems, or at least they need to have an idea of how they can be solved if the right people, if the right resources, and if the right circumstances properly come together. Otherwise, people lose hope, they become passive and demoralized and resigned to what's happening to them. An inevitable conclusion. But it doesn't always have to be that way. You see, the global power elite against which the alternate media rail are really just a very tiny group of extremely powerful people. At the very top of the power pyramid, I would say there's not more than 5,000 or 6,000 or so men and women who are the key players in the global power elite, the decision makers. Now, sure, they hold some pretty strategic ground, like control over the financial system, over television, radio, the press, universities, the police, the money supply, political party and politicians, the military, key government officers, even the so-called opposition politicians. And sure, they have the money power that still allows them to purchase body and soul of the undiscerning masses the world over. But there's one thing I do know. They certainly do not hold you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this YouTube message, would you? I am here to tell you that if you and I and 100,000 or 1,000,000 people just like us find a way of globally working together effectively, we will then push those 6,000 usurpers out of the way. Change for the better in our dark world would then follow fast. So here's my commitment. No longer will you get a load of bad news from us without our offering a way out. A solution to the swarm of problems, troubles, and challenges the global power elite unleash upon us day in and day out. And I benevolently challenge all those good folks in the alternate media to do the same. In 2001, following the last massive collapse of Argentina's economy, with a group of friends and colleagues down here in Argentina, we resolved to found a second republic in Argentina, a truly sovereign nation state that would cut out all the power brokers, both local and foreign, who impose their corrupt agendas upon us. Naturally, we still have a very long way to go, but not because we lack the right ideas, consistent strategies, and doable plans, but basically because we lack money and leverage. Now, history shows us time and again that when an idea whose time has come, Second Republic, is confronted with lack of money and material resources, the idea will always, anyway, find a way around that. Good ideas, powered by enlightened men and women, with spirit, with willpower and conviction, shall always prevail. Today, with the internet, sophisticated softwares, YouTube and websites and Facebook and blogs, it's all become much, much more possible. Now, if you're an alternate media leader and you have a better idea, then please, we all really need to hear it. In the meantime, let us resolve to use one plan and promote it together, so that together with the alternate media's updated real news, we can also consistently present the means to solve the problems thrown at us by the global power elite, by building brick by brick Second Republic movements in every country. Second Republic is the wall that will increasingly shield our countries from global power elite harm and damage. Internet makes it possible to debate issues and build not just an alternate media, but also an alternative political platform that, with sufficient global citizenry support, can win for each of us the right to lead our nations away from the global power elite's yawning abyss and towards rightful prosperity. If you're an alternative media leader, would you accept our challenge to build something that is positive for your listeners rather than only unloading layer upon layer of despair on them? If you are one of the hundreds of millions of people searching for a solution for your country, for your people, and for your families, then I invite you to browse through our Second Republic website. And if you agree with what I am saying, then let your favorite alternative media reporters, journalists, and analysts know so that they too can consider supporting the Second Republic project. It will mean the huge difference that exists between complaining and wailing about everything that's wrong and doing something about it. From Buenos Aires, I'm Adrian Salvucci for Second Republic Project.